Seeing as I've done a video on every TIE Fighter variant, it's only fair that I do one on every Rebel and New Republic Starfighter as well. This video will be focusing largely on the letter wing models, but I'll include some other significant starfighters as well. While many of the ships in this list are canon, most of the actual information is going to come from Legends sources. Let's start with the primary ship of the Rebel fleet, the T65 XWing starfighter. With their S-foils locked into attack position, their four wings took on their distinctive X shape. They were developed by the Incom Corporation to be an excellent all-around fighter, and they were used decades after the Galactic Civil War in both canon and Legends storylines, although in the canon they were upgraded to the T70. There were many additional variations on the X-Wing, but in the canon, the X-Wings that took part in the Battle of Yavin were specifically the T65B model. The predecessor to the X-Wing was the Z95 Headhunter, also manufactured by the Incom Corporation. It resembled an X-Wing with its S-foils closed, and it was developed before the Clone Wars. Despite being outdated, the Rebel Alliance often used Headhunters, and Rogue Squadron even used them in their mission to capture Coruscant after the Battle of Endor. A Heavy 95 variant also existed. The YWing starfighter, like the Z95, was developed decades before the Galactic Civil War. Originally crewed by one pilot and one gunner, the Rebel Alliance used models that did away with the gun turret. They also stripped down the armor for more efficient repairs. Y-Wings were primarily used as bombers. Multiple variations of the Y-Wing existed, included the BTL-A4, the BTL-A4LP, and the BTL-S3. The M-Class starfighter was kind of a variation on the Y-Wing in that they were partly built from salvaged parts of broken Y-Wings. They were crewed by a pilot and a navigator, and some were in use at Echo Base on Hoth. The RZ-1 AWing Interceptor was the smallest and fastest of the Rebel starfighters. They were manufactured by Kuat Systems, but were modified by the Alliance to increase speed and maneuverability. It was able to outfly the TIE Interceptor. Like the X-Wing, they were used in the early days of the Rebellion, all the way to decades after the Galactic Civil War. In Legends, they could be seen fighting the Yuuzhan Vong, and in canon, they were used by the Resistance. A slight variation on the A-Wing, the R-22 Spearhead, was also used by the Alliance. A two-seated version of this fighter also existed. The B-Wing, also known as the Blade Wing, was created to engage and destroy capital ships. It was far less maneuverable than other Rebel ships, but was very heavily armed. The canon B-Wing's prototype, the B-6, was armed with a composite beam laser and had a second gunner seat at the opposite end of the ship. A Legends predecessor to the B-Wing was the H-60 Tempest bomber, which resembled a B-Wing without its wings. The E-Wing starfighter was developed under the New Republic. It was a marriage of the best qualities of both the X-Wing and the A-Wing, and was meant to replace the X-Wing. While it was a versatile ship, it was less reliable, and most pilots preferred to modify their X-Wings rather than switch to new ships. The K-Wing assault starfighter was a heavy bomber. It was created by the New Republic to cause massive bombing damage to planetary targets or capital ships. Despite its larger size, it was about as fast as the Y-Wing. The T-Wing served a similar function to the A-Wing and was meant to replace the craft. Unfortunately, it was poorly constructed using cheap materials, was full of coding errors, and didn't look nearly as cool. The H-Wing was another bomber created by the same company that made the Y-Wing and the K-Wing. During its time, it was the second most heavily armed starfighter in the fleet, the B-Wing being the first. It was a two-seated fighter designed as a long-range strike fighter and bomber. The V-Wing was technically an airspeeder and not a starfighter, but it's got a letter wing name, so I'm gonna include it. Not to be confused with the Clone Wars era V-Wing, this Legends vehicle was only used by the New Republic. It was incredibly fast and maneuverable, but lacked any shields. And since I included the V-Wing, I should probably also include the T-47. Again, it's an airspeeder and not a starfighter. It was originally designed for cargo and freight, but its resilient design made it ideal for Echo Base on Hoth, and so the Rebels modified it to suit their purposes. The R-41 Star Chaser was a competitor of the Z95 Headhunter. It was a balanced starfighter that was only lightly used by the Rebellion. The Cutlass 9 patrol fighter was originally created to protect the Suro-Sub Corporation on Sullust, but when Sullust seceded from the Empire, they offered the services of their starfighters to the Rebel Alliance. Additionally, and although they were very lightly used, the Alliance did use other Clone Wars-era ships including the N-1, the Eta-2, the ARC-170, and the Belbalab 22. After the Galactic Civil War, the New Republic could even be seen using various TIE models. And the last ship I want to mention is the D-Wing. I'm only mentioning it because of its name because it was actually an Imperial starfighter, but it has a letter wing name, so I at least wanted to let you know that it exists. And that's all of the starfighters used by the Rebel Alliance and the New Republic. If you want to learn more about any of these ships individually, check out this playlist, which is also in the description. And if you like this video, you might enjoy the video I did covering every TIE Fighter variant, or the one on every AT-class walker. Both of those are right here. Finally, if you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel to see new Star Wars videos every Monday through Friday. As always, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.